Hello and welcome to My Xbox and Me, episode 377. I am one of your hosts, MC Fixer, alongside the one and only Too Fresh Crash. Crash, how are you?
I'm doing good.
Yeah,
No,
you're doing good, bud. You're doing good.
a little sad. You wanna know why I'm sad?
Why? Why are you sad?
Matt P's missing again.
He just disappears, bro.
Just disappears.
He's like,
He might be Batman.
do you know what's funny? Like,
Yeah.
he told us he was going away.
Yeah.
And I forgot until I put in we got like our private Discord, and I'm like, Matt, you didn't do this, and I didn't get a response, and I'm like, that's not like Matt. Matt doesn't not respond. Like he'll usually figure it out. And I was like, oh, he's on holiday. Oh,
yeah.
God. Yeah.
Yeah. You messaged man on holiday.
I forgot. This guy, I mean, he's living life. I respect it. But Crash, what's new? Anything? Nothing new? Anything going on? How's life? Xbox games? Like, you know.
Life's good. Xbox is good. Games is good. Everything's good.
I respect it. If you didn't know, this is My Xbox and Me, our weekly Xbox podcast, right here on youtube.com/myxboxandme. Please, I beg you, go and subscribe. We'll talk about that in a second. And, of course, all podcast services. If you want the show early, you're over to patreon.com/mcfixer, and you can support the show financially. Couple of bucks here and there. We're going to be rechanging all of that at the end of the year. Make it it's going to be simplified. I'm not going to say too much. It's going to be very simple to be able to get all sorts of different bits of content and to be able to support us financially. So keep an eye on that. We do appreciate you. Speaking of Patreon supporters, big shout out to our Patreon producers, Erin God and the one and only FNH Paul. Thank you, boys, for keeping the lights on each and every week on the My Xbox and Me podcast. We do appreciate you. Crash, mini topic of the show before our actual topic of the show. I was on IGN Unlocked again.
Yeah, congrats. I saw that.
Yeah, I was back on IGN Unlocked. It was interesting. It's funny because I was saying before the show. Thank you to everyone that's come over. Hello, my IGN Unlocked listeners. If you've come over and listened to an episode, last week's episode was probably the worst episode for you to listen to in terms of our professionalism. I think from a show perspective, you pretty much got what My Xbox and Me was. Three chumps sitting down, talking Xbox very passionately in ways only us three knuckleheads can do. But from a professionalism point of view, yeah, last week was not the greatest, so we do apologize. We do apologize for that. The problem was, I didn't know I was going to be on Unlocked until after we'd already recorded our episode, and hey, you got what you got. I mean, to be honest with you, some people would say it was a bad thing that they got that, but some people would say it was a really good thing because they got what My Xbox and Me was.
Yeah. If you're good with that, you're good with everything.
If you're good with that, you're going to enjoy this show for the rest of your life. But if you're not good with that, I understand. I get it. I totally get it. Thank you again, IGN, for having me. Shout out to Ryan McCaffrey. Love going on the show. Love being on there. We spoke about a bunch of Witcher stuff, and yeah, it was a good talk. Very, very good talk. But topic of the show this week, Crash. Phil Spencer's at it again, baby. He's at it again. Xbox device spotted on Phil Spencer's shelf. Spurs speculation that Xbox says it's an old prototype. So, for those who don't know, Phil Spencer, forever now, I don't know why, he's been doing it for a really long time now, keeps teasing things in the background of his shelves, right? Like, we've known about this for a while. It started with the Series S?
Yes.
And then, I think it was the Series S. It started with the Series S, and then we've had Death Stranding was put in the background to sort of hint that Xbox were working with Kojima. Some people say the Switch was put in the background to talk about the Banjo-Kazooie being added to Smash Bros, if I'm not mistaken. There's been little hints. Phil's at it again with a photo. It was celebrating Fallout's anniversary, but keen Xbox viewers and fans saw a little device on the top shelf, and we're all assuming that it is the Xbox own streaming stick thing box. At least that's what I'm speculating. Chris is making faces. Talk to me, Chris. What, you don't think so?
No, I think Xbox is being completely upfront with it where they say it's a prototype. I don't think that that's what it's going to be.
But
'Cause they're-
okay. I hear you. I get what you're saying. Like that is a. Let's say okay.
Yeah.
Hypothetically speaking, whatever. Xbox is telling the truth. That is a prototype. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that does also then confirm that something is in the works as a streaming device only, right?
They've already confirmed that. That's not news.
They haven't really confirmed it though, have they? Like
They came out and said that they're in the reworking process for it, didn't they?
I don't remember that. I might be wrong though.
I could be 100% wrong, and I could be going off of rumors for that.
You're probably right. You're probably right. It's just So the statement that got put out was this device on Phil's shelf was an old prototype of Keystone. Earlier this year, we announced that we made the decision to pivot away from the current current iteration of Keystone, and are taking our learnings to reinforce our efforts on a new approach that will allow us to deliver Xbox gaming, cloud gaming to more players around the world in the future. We have nothing more to share today. So yeah, you are correct.
I feel like Phil's the type of guy who likes to collect memorabilia. If you look at that whole shelf, it looks like there's a bit of memorabilia there, right?
Yeah.
So I think that is the case of like, this is something I spent a good amount of time on. I got the prototype. I'm just going to put it up because this prototype isn't really worth anything anymore. At least that's how he sees it. But we don't see it that way because we see it on there. And we're like, that means something. And I know that's something.
I mean, ultimately, he's got to know that we're going to go into a frenzy about this, you know? We want, especially this podcast, we need news, man. We need news. We'll take anything at this point.
Absolutely. News-wise. But yeah, I mean, with everything going on with the Activision acquisition, I feel like having some Xbox news that isn't related to that is a good thing. And I think this, whether planned or it just happened to happen this way, is good for Xbox in the long run.
How long do you think it is until we see what Keystone finally is in terms of it's just a streaming device?
A while, because of Stadia.
Oh, interesting.
I think Stadia dying will delay it a little bit, because I think even if they had something ready right now would not be the time to show it, because Stadia just went and disappeared, because people would look at that and like, why do I invest in this platform when Google just dipped out of this race?
Anybody who knows Google was getting out of this race anyway. Like, we know you can't compare Microsoft and Google for running away from things.
From a casual, absolutely you can.
No, I agree with you from a casual point of view, though. Yes, 100%. A casual point of view, they're going to go, this didn't work with them, why would it work with this?
Yeah, the hardcore audience already knows, because like the Keystone would just be an extension of xCloud. We already know how that works. So for the hardcore person, like, already invested if that comes out, they're either invested in it or they're not. For the casual audience, that I think you would need to at least get on board with it, not necessarily to like adopt it and get it right away, but on board with the idea of it. I think for them, with the Stadia news, especially because you had some people who were actually invested in Stadia, weirdly enough, they'd sort of be hesitant to adopt something like this, even though like Keystone realistically is just an avenue to access something that's already available from Microsoft.
Yeah, I think it's people like hardware, right? So people like they like to have even myself, like with Stadia, like they could have done Stadia without a controller, right? But again, adding the controller and being like, oh, just use any controller. But adding the controller really did, for me at least, and that's when I was interested. I was like, oh, it comes with a controller, another new piece of kit. And same thing for this, where I'm like, I could do this just off my console, but another new device in my house that goes into my living room instead of my bedroom or whatever. Oh yeah, I'll get that. Especially if we don't get the software put on all TVs that we're hoping for, because obviously they've got to deal with Samsung currently. Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's an interesting one. Shout out to Phil Spencer, stirring the pot, giving us some news like we need each and every goddamn week. So thank you very much. Let's get into what's been in our box, brother. What have you been playing this week?
I've been playing Overwatch 2.
Oh, yeah.
Decent amount. Finally came out. I've been enjoying it. I kind of forgot how much I enjoyed Overwatch, and I think I said this last time after I played the beta as well. But I played a lot of Overwatch, and so sort of being in that realm of playing Overwatch has been very, very fun. I enjoy a lot of the changes. I will say it was a messy launch.
Yep. Yep, it
super
definitely was.
buggy.
Well, it got DDoS attacked as well, right? Like the servers.
Yeah, that's what they said. Which I have no reason not to believe that, right?
So it wasn't just they messed up and they just waited to cover their back. No, I don't think. I agree with you. I don't think that someone comes out and says something that serious just to cover their own back.
To cover their own back, all they have to say is like, "Oh yeah, we had more users than we expected, and we couldn't handle it."
True.
That's like the general thing that most people say as far as it comes to servers.
Yeah. No. I get. Yeah. So, all right. Well, talk to me because I'm hearing. Again, I've not played it, but just from the chatter on the internet, Overwatch 1.5, Overwatch DLC, Overwatch 2 doesn't exist. Like, how are you feeling about it?
We've talked about this, and the naming of Overwatch 2 was the dumbest thing they could have done, and I still hold onto the idea that is a dumb thing.
Yeah.
But I think Overwatch 2, as it was sold, was the single player content. The campaign content,
which isn't there.
There.
Right?
Yeah. They released the multiplayer because they're like, oh, the single player content. We're waiting for that, and that's taking too long. We might as well put out the multiplayer content, which is ready to go.
Yeah.
So I understand what people are saying, and I understand, and like, this is 100% on Blizzard for naming it the way they did, which was a stupid way to do it.
Yeah.
They should have just called it Overwatch and said it's a major new patch, a major new update, or whatever. But yeah,
would it have had the same? Would it have had the same effect?
No.
I'm seeing everyone's playing it. I see amazing numbers on Twitch. Content creators are back in. We know why they called it this.
Yeah, it was the smart move. It was definitely the better move of the two. I think it makes more sense to have called it just Overwatch, but for sure Overwatch 2. The smart move as far as getting people back in, because people don't like going back for major updates necessarily. People like going in for the new thing and like, oh, this is a new game. But like, they updated the original version of Overwatch.
Well, so Overwatch 1 done now? Like you can't. Yeah,
it's Overwatch 2. Like literally the game updated from Overwatch 1 to Overwatch 2. Okay. The wildest release in history. So yeah, I get people's gripes with it, but I do think it is different enough, and it shakes up a lot of what Overwatch was.
Ultimately, are you having fun?
Yeah.
Then who cares?
That's all that matters.
Then who cares? As long as you're having fun and you're enjoying it, and it's got a player base that's having fun with it, and who cares? Who cares about the rest of it? You know, games are made to be fun, and you're having fun with it. And ultimately, that's the main thing. That's the main thing that you need, right?
Oh, absolutely.
So, anything else you've been playing other than Overwatch?
Not that I can think of.
No. Fair enough. Yeah, I haven't played this week. I've been away. Can't talk about where, but you'll find out real soon. So I haven't technically played anything new. Super excited for Gotham Knights though. Obviously, some news coming out about that. I don't know if we've got it in this week's dashboard actually. So we'll just talk about that. It's fine.
There's a question about it.
Well, okay, then we'll do it then. But yeah, so I'm looking forward to Gotham Knights. I played. Oh, no, I did play something. I played Tiny Tina's Wonderworld. Without you. Yes, I know. I'm sorry. I'm not sorry. I've got to be honest with you. I played it with Haley. So me and Haley sat down and played it. We played it for about 3 hours. Making our characters and starting the whole process. I think you're wrong entirely. And I'm so happy that I gave this game a chance. And there's a reason why I gave it a chance as well. I think it's in one of the questions. There's a question about it, saying that it's someone's game of the year, which we'll get to a little bit later on in the show. And that I saw that and I went, I'm starting this game. Because I remember that I like Borderlands.
Yeah.
And it comes down to the fact of, do you like Borderlands? And you, ultimately, Borderlands not your favorite co-op looter shooter. That's not your Destiny. You would pick Destiny over Borderlands every day of the week. Where I would pick Borderlands. And I was like, I loved it. I really enjoy it. I shouldn't say love, but I really enjoy D&D. And I'm like, let me check this out. From the minute it started, I was like, I'm in. This is exactly what I wanted it to be. And And yeah, me and Haley plan it together and shouting at each other and do it. It's very simplistic in what it is, and I do think they nerfed Tiny Tina a lot. Like, it's her name on the game, but it was very much like, okay, we're not gonna have her be too over imposing because we know there are people who dislike this character. Is what it feels like to me.
How deep into it are you?
About 4 hours in, so I'm on chapter 3. There's 11 chapters of the main story, but then there's a bunch of side content that you can do, and it's got like this overall hub world, and it's really cute and artsy, and I really like it. I think it's very funny. I can see now why 2K are very much like, we have a new franchise. Yes, I won't sleep on it again. The sequel, I'll 100% day one, streaming it, playing it, getting a group together. I think that's the only thing that would make this game a little bit more fun, is if I was playing it with more people. But ultimately, I'm having a great time with it. Can't wait to beat it before the end of the year.
The game has a good amount of DLC. Do you see yourself picking up any of the DLC?
Yeah, probably. No, me. Number one, the game was given to me by 2K. Thank you, 2K, for the codes. And I'll buy the DLC either way because it's a genre of game that I like. I saw a few characters that are DLC that I was looking at. I was like, do I need these right away? It's like, no, just chill. Not yet. Not yet. But yeah, I'll definitely check out any additional content that's there. I want to get through the main story so I can talk about it for Game of the Year, though. And this 100% will be on my top 10 list. Guaranteed. So I played that, and I played a little bit more A Dustfall, which again, can't really talk about that without spoiling it, so I don't want to. I do think you should play Chapter 1 if you haven't played it yet. If you're into these walking sim, it's not even a walking sim. If you're into these visual novels, choose your own adventure games type thing, you should play Chapter 1. You'll know pretty instantly if you like the art style in the game. Pretty sharp as you'll know. So definitely give it a chance.
I think from the little bit I played, that's like the hardest thing to swallow with that game. And I think if you're fine with that, you probably can get through that game. Because I do think it is a very off-putting thing. Not necessarily in a negative way. I'm sure that they got the reaction they wanted out of people with it, because it is a very decisive thing to do the way they did it.
It's a beautiful art style, but it's just one that is very jarring for a video game when you're not prepared for it. So yeah, ultimately it's worth checking out. So definitely check it out. That's another game that definitely going to be in my top 10 list because I am compelled to keep playing the game to find out where the story goes. So yeah.
Have you seen? So you haven't played Scorn yet?
So I've got Scorn downloaded, but I was away when it came out, so I didn't have a chance to play it. I've seen a clip of a few puzzles though, and people are not happy.
Yeah, apparently it has too many puzzles for people.
Yeah, for a puzzle game. Well. For a puzzle game, it has too many puzzles. So
was it marketed as a puzzle game?
Not really, but is Resident Evil? Resident Evil's not a. The problem is it's an action adventure puzzle game, right? And anybody who's not expecting puzzles in it go, wait a minute, what? And I knew when they started, there was a few PR people that come out like, anyone who likes Resident Evil, you should get in contact. And I was like, oh, they're going to mess this up. Because the good thing about Resident Evil, though it does have puzzles, they are so simple that it has that great moment of when it clicks, it makes you feel like a genius. And a game like this, I don't know. I've not played it yet, Scorn. But if it doesn't have that and it just becomes frustrating, that's when people turn off.
Yeah, in Resident Evil, you definitely get that eureka moment very naturally, where it's like, oh, I need a key, or here's this puzzle, and there's lions and all this stuff, and then you randomly see it, and you're like, oh, it makes sense. I put it all together. So absolutely agree with you on that front. But I don't know. Have you tried it? I haven't played it yet. I haven't even downloaded it. Okay. I saw it and I saw the puzzle thing, and I was like, oh, this seems like it's fixed this type of game.
Yeah. I'm 100% gonna play it. I just haven't had time to get around to it yet. So for next week's podcast, I should have at least started it to know if I'll be continuing or not.
I don't think it's a very long game, I will say. No. I think it's like 10 or 11 hours or something like that.
Dude, that was the biggest thumbs up moment for Tiny Tina as well. When I saw it was only 12 hours long, I was like, okay, I'm in. I know for a fact I can beat this game. Like, yes, okay. And then when we ended our 4-hour session, we was on chapter 3. I was like, Let me just see how many chapters there are. 11. Yes, okay, let's keep going. No problem. I'm totally in. This works. This definitely works. So, yeah, looking forward to carrying on with that. Let's check podcast reviews, Crash, because we've got one. I've got one over here in the UK. Finally, we have a new one, Crash, and it says, titled, Grandma is Hurting. Gave my grandma a thoroughly good kicking on Fixer's recommendation, but grandma beating aside, a fantastic podcast with engaging hosts and always a good chat. Cheers, lads. This was from the Doze. Thank you very much, the Doze. So for anyone who's new to the podcast and doesn't know, please go and review the podcast on Apple and any podcast service. We weren't getting a lot of reviews for the longest time, so I said, go and beat up your grandma, steal her iPhone, and drop a review. So there you go. Make sure you drop yourself a review. It helps us out. 5 stars only. Whether you think we're a 4-star podcast, it doesn't matter. We need the 5 stars. Criticism, absolutely fine in text form, but still give us a 5-star review, please. We do appreciate it. Any new ones for you, Crush?
Nope.
Oh,
still the same. Last one we got over here. July 25th.
Wow.
It's been a minute.
Wow. How disappointing. This week's dashboard, let's jump in. We got a little bit of news to cover. The new Need for Speed Unbound has been revealed. Need for Speed has officially revealed a new trailer featuring A$AP Rocky that is in the game. It is the telling of an underdog story where you start as an unknown street racer. Excited, Crush?
Yeah, I actually think narratively, I think they're setting up. I was about to say Street Fighter and Need for Speed in a very good way, but it kind of reminds me of what they're doing with Street Fighter, where they're going back to this very grounded level for these games. And I do like that. Will it work for Need for Speed? Who knows? I hope it works because I still remember playing Need for Speed back in the day. It's probably like nostalgia wise, probably my favorite racing game.
Yeah.
So I would love for them to be back on top again.
I think the biggest problem they have, I love what they're going for. I think it's going to be its art style that is going to become very problematic in taking me it's going to either fit perfectly with the setting and I'm going to absolutely love it, or instantaneously it's going to pull me out of what they're trying to do and I'm going to hate it. So it's going to be one of those, I feel like it's going to be one of those Marmite games. Watched the trailer and I was just like, not sure about this art style. I like the concept of what we're going for here, but I just don't know.
I watched the art style, like the first time I watched the trailer twice, once when it first came out and the second time when I added it to show notes. And the first time I had the same reaction as you, and the second time I was like, I actually like it, and I think I prefer them going, if they're going to have actual characters, I think I prefer them going this style as opposed to like trying to be like, oh, we're going to add these models and they're going to be very like graphically good, but like the lips aren't going to sync up well or something is going to be off in the movement. I'd rather them go for this more artistic approach and nail that.
Yeah, if you've got
hopefully they nail it. We haven't seen it yet, so who knows?
Having A$AP Rocky though, and people like that, if you've got those type of personalities and characters in the game, it is hard to not, when you see them in real life graphics, you know, you're always looking at something, right? You're right. It's the eyes or something. It's just like, oh, he's dead behind the eyes. It doesn't work. Yeah, with this art style, it works perfectly for something like this. So yeah, I do agree with you. I do agree with you. So yeah, good luck to EA. Good luck to this game. I'm looking forward to checking it out. And yeah, I hope it's good. I hope it's good. There's a release date, right? Did they say a release date?
There should be a release date, I think.
I forgot when they I forgot the release date. Oh, well, we'll get that in a second. Moving on, Microsoft have offered a glimpse at how much Xbox Game Pass actually makes. This was taken from Windows Central. According to a Brazilian regulated body, CADE, Xbox Game Pass revenue from subscriptions stands at 2.9 billion, that's billion, in the physical period ending in January 2021. Tweaktown noted that it accounts for 18% of Microsoft's revenue from gaming for that physical year, which would have put Game Pass subscribers at around 18 to 19 million mark. The last official figure we got for Game Pass subscribers came last January, where Redmond revealed it had 25 million users. So, there you have it, Crash. 2.9 billion in the financial year ending January 2021, and we're looking at around 18 to 19 million mark of continued users. It's a lot.
That's only on Xbox Game Pass as well.
Yes.
Not including PC or Unlimited or Ultimate.
Exactly. That is just
Which
on
is huge.
Xbox. It just proves what that dollar market was. That dollar deal was doing back in the day, and there's still people.
Yeah.
There are still people living off of that.
Absolutely.
So,
Because you see
like,
there, they revealed 25 million, but the estimated would be 18 to 19 million. I'd imagine that it is closer to 25 million, and that difference is off of people doing the dollar deal.
yeah, no, exactly. You got people that are fluctuating in, fluctuating out. It's just wild how Xbox just definitely got first movers advantage on this, didn't they? Like we're gonna do it first, and we're gonna do it better, and boom, here we are.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
Crazy.
I would really love, and I don't think we will ever see it, the amount of profit that they make from Game Pass.
No.
I don't know a reason for them to release it for us realistically, but I would just love to see, like, because we got a little bit of information that we'll cover later with the deal on how they get games for Game Pass and how much they pay. But I'd love to see that in a more detail, just to sort of have a better understanding of Game Pass.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's like, that's the number one question though on people's minds, right? How profitable? It's all well and good telling us how much you made, but how much are you paying out for games such as, Ark, which we'll move on to. Microsoft have revealed, or it's come out, that Microsoft paid $2.5 million to keep Ark on Game Pass. So this was from from Twitter, from Ethan Gatch.
I believe he's a writer for Kotaku.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. I didn't know the gentleman. Who said this on Twitter, which was Sony paid $3.5 million to make Ark Survival Evolved a PlayStation Plus game in March. Microsoft paid $2.5 million to keep the game on Game Pass for the first half of this year, and $2.3 million to bring Ark 2 to the service when it launched. So, lots of money being thrown out there. No wonder why these devs and publishers are enjoying Game Pass. There's a lot of money.
Yeah. Absolutely. Especially because Ark's an old game at this point.
Yeah.
So getting together, if you count like Xbox and Microsoft, Sony and Microsoft, what they paid for this, $6 million, which is a good amount of money, I'd assume.
What, on top of, the amount of sales the game did in preview when it was first in preview, then when it first came out again, and obviously now it's out and it isn't free, but hypothetically, the way people look at PlayStation Plus or Xbox, people look at Game Pass like it as well, is they look at it as free. It's very interesting. It's a lot of money, and it makes me wonder how much do certain other games get then? Because Ark, like you say, old game, clearly still has a player base, and that's what Microsoft will definitely be seeing. I was
gonna say that Ark is probably in certain degrees one of the better games that Microsoft could get for Game Pass, because it's also a game with no ending. So like if you're playing Ark and you play it through Game Pass and your Game Pass subscription is about to end, you have one of two options. Either you buy Ark or you're like, I'm just going to re-up the Game Pass because there's other games that are coming to it or other games I want to play on it.
Yeah.
And I'm already playing Ark, so I already inherently have that value. So I do think there's a very smart move in getting Ark for Game Pass and even going ahead early on with Ark 2 to have that in the beginning when that launches for Game Pass.
Yeah, it's those type of games are the games that live on really well in Game Pass, right? It's these type of ongoing games that Microsoft want the you've cancelled your subscription. They want that moment of you click the button to go play Ark and you can't. That's when they have you at their beck and call of like, oh, I'll just do it again for another month. and then you forget, and it turns into 2 months, and then you forget, and it's 3 months, and then
Yeah.
now I've cancelled it again, and then you've got something else that's come out that you're playing, and it ends, and you're like, oh god, like I can feel it on my chest right now just thinking about it, of like that worry of like, but my friends are playing and I want to play. Okay, yeah, have the money, it's fine, just take it. So yeah, congratulations to Xbox, congratulations to the developers getting paid this good amount of money, because it's a lot of money. Next up is new Crash game teased for the Game Awards? A new Crash Bandicoot game could be announced at the Game Awards if a recent promotional teaser turns out to be accurate. Influencers have been receiving gifts promoting the upcoming Steam release of Crash Bandicoot 4. It's about time. This gift is what looks like a pizza box with labels, highlighting Crash 4's October 18th PC release date. But a small detail tucked away on the box seems to be teasing an additional announcement. Also on the box is a little message teasing a new Whopper pizza available for $12.08. The price happens to be the same day as this year's Game Awards, which takes place on December 8th. This has led to speculation that a new Crash game will be announced. Would you reckon, Crash? New Crash?
Yeah, it's a Switch game that's in the vein of Cooking Mama, where you just make pizzas the whole time.
I hate you how that could actually be true. That's the thing that scares me the most.
It makes sense, dude. No, I'm just joking. I do think we're getting a new Crash game.
Well, it's an interesting one though, with where Xbox are at right now, with the obviously buying of Activision and things like that. I'm like, oh, I'm surprised they've not waited and pushed everything back, but until the deal's gone through. But I suppose can't really do that.
No, I also don't think it makes sense, because once you start doing that, I'm sure shareholders start looking at that and like, what's going on? Why are you not announcing this new stuff? We could be getting however they make money through this. We could be getting more eyes, whatever, on our games. So I don't think it would be a smart move. I also wonder if you delay it, how that goes with the proceedings for the investigation into the acquisition, if that affects it at all. Not that I know of, because I don't really know the process for it. But yeah, I think new Crash game, which makes sense. The last Crash game was super popular. I think it was well received.
It was a great game. I played it. I didn't get to finish it, but I definitely enjoyed what I played of it. 100%. Should we jump into Fix the Site, Crash?
Yeah.
Let's jump in. Remember, you can email in myxboxandmepodcast@gmail.com, or you can hit us up in our Discord, link in the description of the YouTube channel and of the podcast. And of course, you can hit us up on Twitter with the hashtag MXAM to answer all of your Xbox and just general questions. First question comes in from a Wild Army, who says, thoughts on Overwatch 2 and how the achievement list was updated to the new game. I'd love to see this for yearly franchises like Madden, The Show, FIFA, and more. It makes it a little easier for Xbox achievements hunters to have a backlog of incomplete games on their lists. Crash, I've not checked this out at all, so what's your army referencing? Do you know?
Absolutely not. I'm assuming that they just, because it's the same game, I'm assuming they just updated the achievement list.
Yeah, I mean, for yearly franchises, I don't think it works because
it's a new game.
Well, ultimately, Overwatch 2 isn't a new game.
Yeah,
that's why they can do it. With FIFA, they add in new features and new, like, even if it's just a separate game mode, right? Like Volta or something like that. That's why it has to have a whole new achievement list.
It's also for anybody who plays Genshin Impact, like whenever that game gets a new content update, they update the achievement list for that game as well and add new trophies. So I assume that's how it works. I wonder if they did change the achievement list around at all in the game. I haven't looked at it, and I probably should have. But if they did, I'd assume, because on Xbox you do need to have every achievement obtainable. I do know that certain games, I think Destiny's had issues with like either removing content or working certain stuff around. The issue comes in that the achievements and trophies still have to be achievable in some sort of way,
or just given. Just if you, I think at that point, if you really have to remove something, it should just be a case of the achievement just pops.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like you have to patch it in that the achievement pops. Like I get it, you didn't technically earn it and stuff, but I remember Gears back in the day. I used to log onto that and I just used to get a bunch of achievements pop, and I was like, feels like magic. Like, oh my god, I'm so happy. It's like, but I didn't do anything for this, but I still don't care. I like it. All right.
Feel good.
Man, I haven't thought about achievement hunting in years. I used to live on
it every once in a while. You want to go back to it?
No. I don't have the time for it anymore. Like the amount of games that just come out and like, especially with games like obviously roleplay for me and like I guess like a Genshin Impact for you or something, you just don't have the time to sit there and like Tiny Tina. I didn't look at the achievement list. That used to be the first thing I'd do. It's like look at the achievement list to see, okay, what should I knock out first while playing. Now I just enjoy the experience.
I will say, at least for me, because I used to do the same thing of looking like at achievement lists and trophy lists. I just don't do that in general anymore. I think part of that is like, where do you find the time and the day to like go hunting for those things? But B also is like, I don't necessarily care about them anymore unless I'm really invested into a game. Like if I really, really like a game, then it's like, okay, I'll start looking at it. What can I knock out? But it's not even necessarily that I'll get everything. I just want to get as much as I can in that case.
It's no longer in your face like that, is it? Like, do you remember back in the 360 days? Like, I felt like it was there, like front and center of like your gamer score and achievements and all of that. Nowadays, I don't even.
You gotta go through hoops.
I don't even think about it. You know, like I don't know if you have to go through hoops. It's only probably like one menu click, but I just don't think about it anymore like I really care about it. I'm sure there are plenty of people out there that still do care, achieve 1000G in games and things of that nature. I always felt like Xbox should have adapted the platinum trophy thing, because I think that would have got me back in, because it would have been something new and everyone would have been starting from a ground floor level. But I guess the adoption rate is probably just not big enough for them to really care.
A lot of the games do give you achievements for completing it all, but it doesn't hit the same as a platinum trophy. I will say that. That could also be like, people talk about UI changes and stuff like that. I could see a achievement system rework somewhere down the line where they're like, we need to put something else out for the Xbox ecosystem, but like the UI is good and all this stuff's good. Just mess around with the achievements and make them more approachable and worth doing in certain ways. No,
I agree. Next question comes from Original Cookie Man, who says, with the Brazilian regulators approving the Activision deal and stating, quotes, the decision was made for the Brazilian consumers and not the defense of a particular company's interest, end quote, do you think the majority of regulators from other countries will follow suit? Well, I can only speak about I'll speak about my country, and my country have done the entire opposite, as I'm sure most of you saw on the internet. No, I think everyone's treating it case by case. It's an interesting one. Obviously, I think it's all stupid. Like, Xbox should be allowed to buy this. I think the companies and the people that are saying they shouldn't, they have hidden agendas. I think just my opinion.
Here's what I will say. I think Xbox's approach to cloud gaming and Game Pass is fantastic, and I do think that exact approach is also sort of biting them in the butt here. Because when you're looking at markets overall, you technically could split up streaming markets into something else other than gaming markets.
True.
And when you look at that, Microsoft's already dominating on that front, and Stadia just disappeared off the map. So it's like, we're going to let them, who are already like powerhouses in the streaming market, we're going to give them this. And then you also look at subscription services. And that is another thing that you could view as, well, that is a different type of thing. And that is affected by Microsoft getting them as well.
But that's because of their competition being so poor at it. PlayStation have
doesn't
PlayStation
matter.
now. No, and
Sure.
I understand that it doesn't matter for the conversation that you just said. But to rebuttal it, it's a case of, if it was vice versa, PlayStation have tried to get a market share in streaming. It didn't work. They bought Gaikai back in the day. Like that, They had this vision for it before Xbox did, but Xbox just implemented it better. Let's never forget that, like, how you used to have to pay to stream PlayStation games and the costs of it and things like that. And PlayStation dropped the ball with it a long time ago. Xbox just didn't, and that's why they're in a very healthy position when it comes to this. But the question is, do I think the majority of regulators from other countries will follow suit? I think ultimately Xbox will get what they want. Obviously, I saw the 2K interview that I put in the Discord the other day, and I think that was that was a big thing. I actually think that was very good for Xbox, obviously, but I think having a company like that come out and say what they said is huge. Also, funny that 2K would say they have the biggest franchises in the world.
Can I be honest? If any company ever comes out, like I could see EA coming out. Well, EA did make a statement, right, of Xbox of Call of Duty possibly going exclusive and how it would benefit Battlefield way back when, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, I don't remember that. You could be correct.
I feel like I've read that, and I'm like, of course they're gonna say that, because if Xbox goes exclusive, like their game is gonna pop on PlayStation even more. Yeah. So it benefits them. Even Rockstar to a degree, although Rockstar games are Rockstar games, that's not gonna change anything. Like GTA is gonna sell because it's a Rockstar game at the end of the day.
Well, I think 2K are in a very. I think 2K the conversation that was had in that interview was very interesting, which is at the end of the day, our games speak for themselves, and 2K can say that because their games do speak for themselves. They have no competition when it comes to basketball. They have no competition when it comes to GTA. They have no competition when it comes to Red Dead in those same spaces. They just don't.
I will say it's also really important to look at it. I think, and I could be a tinfoil hats going on. 2K is looking to acquire another bigger studio.
Yeah.
For sure. And I think this is where that should happen. Absolutely. Microsoft should get Activision. It's not impeding any sort of competition, and they're going to go and buy one that's cheaper than them. And if anybody's like, I don't know if you guys can do that, they're just going to be like, Microsoft just bought Activision. What are you guys looking at us for?
I think the only people that I see complaining at this moment in time is Sony.
It makes sense for them to complain, to be honest.
Absolutely. But no, I don't know how it's going to play out, Original Cookie Man. My gut says they get it, though. Ultimately, they get it.
I'd be shocked if they don't end up getting it. Because, when you really start breaking it down, I don't think it makes a whole lot of sense to stop it unless you're strictly looking at the streaming and what was the cloud gaming aspects of it. Streaming and cloud gaming, streaming and a subscription service aspect of it. But both of those are in such an infancy that it's hard to say that I think you'd be getting a monopoly on it when those are still pretty young markets in general right now.
Yeah. No, you're not wrong. You're not wrong. Jami, you're asking me a question about Persona, and I love Persona, but I'm gonna hold it for next week. Maybe Matt P's got more. Let's go on to this next one. Top Lift 91 says, do you think Rocksteady deliberately held onto the fact that Gotham Knights would run at only 30 FPS on consoles to increase their pre-order sales? And are you disappointed by this? And do you think it will affect people's thoughts on the game? Crush?
I do not think it'll affect people's thoughts on the game. Most people were already down on the game. Am I disappointed by this? I'm disappointed by it in the fact that it's 4K 30 frames per second. I've already talked about how I think 4K is a little bit overrated and I'd rather have a higher frame rate. We've had these conversations before. I'd rather it be 1440p and 60 frames per second across the board. Do I think they did it to increase pre-order sales? Yes, everything a company ever does is to increase pre-order sales. They want to benefit as much money as they can get. If a company is being overly nice, it's because they think that they're going to get money out of it.
My hot take on this is the fact that it's disgusting that this came out of a Discord. A message on Discord.
Absolutely.
The fact that we didn't know about this beforehand is... Yeah, it's not good. It's not a good look. It's not a good look at all. I'm still excited about the game, but ultimately this has changed, so I will be playing the game on PC now. Because, again, most people I'm not like a techie guy, but I do know the difference between 30 and 60, and I love 4K, and I've been a big fan of 4K. I've got 4K monitor, I've got a 4K TV, and I love it. But in 2022... where we have some of the best hardware possible, some of the most powerful hardware. I bought an Xbox Series X to play games at the best frame rate possible, and that's why I've upgraded. And to get a game at 30 frames, and the price of it still is $70 is wild.
You don't pay for a game for frame rate.
I think
that's an absurd statement.
I don't. No. Okay, let me correct in what I'm trying to say then. I don't pay for a game because of frame rate. You're right. But what I did buy my Xbox Series X to play brand new experiences at the best graphical fidelity and at the best frame rate. That's why I bought a Series X over a Series S. So ultimately, for me, I still want the best experiences. So I now have to go play the game on PC to get the best experience, which is nuts, considering how powerful the Series X, S, and PS5 is.
Yeah.
Console players are once again getting shafted.
I will say I do think people are undervaluing the fact of what they're doing with co-op.
I will agree with you once I've played it and seen it myself.
Okay.
If it works,
I don't disagree with that. That is fair.
If it comes out and we spoke about it on our podcast the same week I spoke about on Unlocked, and Destin Legary had a chance to play it, and I asked him about it, like, oh, how did you guys get to like be untethered like they've been saying? And he was like, oh, we didn't really try. And I was like, huh, okay, that worries me a little bit. But once Crash, if you're telling me you could be over that side of the map, I can be over this side of the map, and we can live our lives separately and then come across each other in the world, blah, 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 blah. And that is the reason why it's only 30 FPS and not 60, but it's giving me a whole new experience in co-op. I'm fine with it. I love it. Thank God you made a decision. I'll back it all day long. But I need to be able to play it and see it myself before I can have that argument. Right now, on the just seeing this news come out, and again, it's not even just seeing this news come out, it's the way the news came out.
Yeah. It's horrible way to do it in a Discord post.
Yeah.
That should have been like a Twitter, that should have been a tweet, that should have been an official statement of some capacity. It just looks dirty. It looks scummy. It looks like they were trying to keep it under the radar as well. We're going to post this in our Discord server. We're going to hope it doesn't get a whole lot of, which probably honestly made the news cycle for it worse.
Yes.
By a significant margin. But like, I don't know. For me, if it comes out, like, you are absolutely right. We do have to play it to see how the co-op is, right? Because right now it's all talk, and we've seen developers countless times give us so much talk on why something has to be done this way. And then you play the game and it's like, it doesn't even work that way. I'm hoping that it is the case of like the way the co-op works is like, we realistically can't do more than 30 frames per second at 4K.
Yeah.
I would hope, like, I think the big issue a lot of people had was that there was no performance mode, which I think is a completely valid statement. This game should have a performance mode. Like, if you are playing on a next-gen console, you should be able to go down to 1440p or 1080p or whatever it is, and 60 frames per second. The fact that isn't an option, I do think is an issue. But again, I wonder if that has to do, I can't imagine how that would have to do with the tethering of people, but like, I don't know. I don't know how they're making the game. We don't know. So, but yeah, it is disappointing news. I think a lot of people have been dogpiling on the game because of it. I do think a good portion of them already did not like the game, because this game's been getting dogpiled on for a minute. Since
the previews come out, a lot of people are very much, as soon as people started saying, oh yeah, but it's not like Arkham. It's like, well, they've said that number of times. It's not like Arkham. It's very separate. It's like, it's not. I don't understand why all of a sudden now people are up in arms about it. And it's like, I do agree with you. Ultimately, the people who wanted to be upset are more upset because of it. The people who see the screenshots, cancelled my pre-order. It's like, you were just looking for an excuse at the end of the day. Like, just go cancel. If you don't want to buy the game, you don't have to. No one's forcing you to buy the game. I'm still looking forward to the game. I'm just frustrated I can't play it on console, to be honest with you.
Yeah. There was another piece of news that did come out for the game, which is about a month into the game, they are releasing a 4-player co-op mode. Nice. It's not like the full open world. It'll be like they said it's 30 floors. I don't know what that means, but it is
It's gonna be
30
one of
levels or
those.
so where it's like you have objectives in the levels to do and complete and stuff like that.
Okay.
Which makes sense with what they said they couldn't do 4-player co-op because of the way the world worked and all that stuff. If you limit it, you can add more players. That makes sense. At least something is coming for there because I do know a lot of people wanted there to be 4-player co-op to a capacity. I have seen people still complaining about this, about the fact that it should be there day one and how it is not the way people want it to be. And people complaining in general, some of them valid complaints, some of them just complaining for the sake of complaining. But
Yeah. I mean, that'd be fun as a piece of content when it comes out. I'm sure you'll play it for like 1 or 2 times, and then that'll be it, right? Like I can see me, you, and Matt playing it, and then that'll be it once.
yeah,
Unless the rewards are good. I guess if you get good rewards for it, I don't know.
I don't know. I think it would have to be like, do you enjoy the experience or not? I will say I don't know if the game has crossplay. I don't know if they've came out and said.
I don't think it does.
Yeah, so I don't know if we'll be able to make that piece of content.
No, I'll get it on console as well if I have to.
Okay.
But yeah, I'll get it on console if I have to. But like, yeah, oh god, no crossplay as well. That could be hard.
Yeah, I don't know. I'll hold off. Like I do have some reservations about the game and certain stuff. Like I think crossplay should be in any sort of co-op and multiplayer game at this point.
Yep.
But the game isn't too far out. By next week, maybe when you get the next week podcast, because we're probably going to record late next week because Matt gets in late next week.
Yeah.
We'll maybe have some thoughts on this, and we'll definitely have thoughts on Scorn as well by next week.
Cool.
So,
last question, Crash. Original Cookie Man says, I've really been enjoying Grounded for its survival horror. If you see a spider, do what the rest of us do and run. Every shrunk kid that has ever faced a spider has been reduced to their backpack. Exploration and glorious base building. I have built a modest clover and glass blades shack. Gone.
grass.
Oh, what did I say? Grass.
Glass.
Yeah, grass.
Oh, I thought you said glass to me.
Grass-based shack that feels like home. If I never finish the main story, I'll always have home base. What games have distracted you in the best ways? Oh, that's a great question.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring?
Yeah. It's like there's ways you're supposed to be going in Elden Ring because they have
Okay.
a sort of guide to Elden Ring, but like I see a little thing in the corner and I'm just distracted. And that's general for games like that. Breath of the Wild, Genshin Impact, like you see something off in the distance and immediately I get distracted. I'm like a squirrel who saw it off in the distance. Like I'm going to go chase it.
Yeah, I think I'm coming at it, the question differently. Not that you're wrong for the way you've come at it. I'm thinking like Fallout 4 base building.
Okay. You know what? I think you're more in line with what.
Yeah.
But I will say
you're not wrong.
Cookie,
I don't think you're wrong.
Yeah, because I don't. Okay. Yeah. No. I see what you're saying.
Like the rap battles in Valhalla, or
Yeah.
what was the card game in Witcher? Gwent in Witcher.
Oh, a lot of people got like distracted with Gwent. A lot of people like they did nothing.
They
but
made a
play
whole
Gwent in
game.
that
They made a whole game because of it. Like,
Yeah.
I think the big one for me was Fallout. I remember when that first came out. Though I was never good at it, because I say good at being base building. Just the fact that was there, I always thought was really cool. So I was like customizing my home base a lot, and there was so much cool stuff you could do with that game that I ended up not doing, but just the lighting system, electric, and all of that. I think Fallout 4 was probably one of the ones where like I was playing it and I was like, oops, I've not done anything remotely main story-wise for 5 hours. I guess The Sims you could put up there, which I guess the whole game is a distraction.
Yeah. It's kind of hard because even in Grounded, I would say like the base building isn't any less integral to the experience than the main story.
Yeah.
So I think in that regard of like
the best games reward you for being distracted. That's the one thing I will say. So Fallout obviously had some achievements connected to it, and obviously had the reputation system in that game as well, which what did they call them in that game?
I haven't touched that game in so long.
Yeah,
do
like the
not
people that
remember.
were on your home base, they would be happier or sadder about like the stuff, food and water and all that stuff. So the best games reward you for being distracted. Like the ones I dislike is when I've done something for 6 hours and then it was only for my benefit and doesn't actually build upon the world in which I've done it in. So Grounded, I think, is a great example of terms of like you need that home base because sometimes you might be getting chased by something and you can run back to there, or you build up a couple of different home bases around that garden. So you remember where you've built, where you can get food, where you can store your resources. Yeah, the best games reward you for that sort of thing. Yeah. Crash. That's it, brother. Let's plug and get ourselves out of here. What you got to plug this week?
I need all my Americans listening to this podcast right now to leave a review. We haven't had a review in July, and now we're being shown up across the seas, and this is horrible. I hate it. I hate it. Leave some reviews.
My plug this week is shout out to Team UK. We need more reviews than the Americans. Please keep reviewing. I don't care if you have to punch your grandma in the throat and steal her iPhone. Remember, iPhones, iPads, your kid's iPad. I don't care who it is. Kick them, punch them, bite them, slap them. Grab that iPad, leave us a review. 5 stars only. I'd appreciate it. If you are new around here, please hit the subscribe button on YouTube. We are pushing on, especially for next year with new YouTube content. If you want to see us do more preview content, I can reach out to more PR companies to do previews, more review content, whatever it is you want to see on the My Xbox and Me YouTube channel. Let us know so we know what to start producing. Kresh, until next time, brother. It's been a pleasure. Love you.
Bye.
Leave you. See you later. Bye-bye.